Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure tonight. Happy Friday! Friday night disclosure for Friday, September 27th, 2024, as we all come together as a community to talk about those things we call UFOs. You know how that goes, my friends, but without any further ado, let me jump into the audience and welcome you all to our Friday night edition of Disclosure tonight. How you doing? Did you have a good week? Was it nice and short enough for you? The dogs are starting to go crazy for the food already. Let me go ahead and let me get the... Oh, I don't even have it going yet. Dang it. Get the sound effects up and going here. Yeah, I'll get there in a second. Yeah, I know. Here, let's go ahead. No, I skip for now. I don't want to update because you'll break it. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the heck do we have out there? Let's go ahead and take a look. Remember, if you haven't subscribed to Disclosure tonight yet, what the heck you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't given us a thumbs up, come on, what are you waiting for? Giving us a thumbs up. And if you're not having a good time, give us a thumbs down. We'll take one or the other, my friends. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the heck do we have out there? Let's welcome in Andy W., Ant-Man, April R. Coleman, Aubrey McLeod, Destiny Rocks, Firefly, Greg O'Brien. What did I do to deserve that? Kathy's here along with Little Schism. Little Schism's here, so is Moose. Lon's around along with Mac After Death. 801%. Mick is here. Mr. Catfish 2100. Ms. Cuss Out Niles Guy. And that's about it. Yeah, some people popping up. Yes, I think we do have Kathy and Kelly Broughton, those piercing blue eyes. I know you're not here yet, Kelly, but you're here every show, so we'll see you soon, Frankenstein. Fernando made it in. Destiny Rocks, all these people. Anonymous Rex, everyone's popping up in the chat. How about that, Nose? But wait. We've got more. I promise. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our back chat. Who the heck do we have in our panel tonight to be asking questions and bringing up poignant points? Well, let's take a look. It's our friend coming all the way from Bristol, United Kingdom. Let's welcome in Andy W. How's it going, Andy?
Hi, Thomas. Yeah, not bad. Happy Friday. I'm having a think of me day there.
Yeah. Was it a good week for you?
Yeah.
A good enough week to say cheers?
No, not at the moment. No.
Oh my gosh,
tonight,
it's a Friday night. You don't have something there? Are you feeling all right, Andy?
No,
do you have a temperature?
It's 2 in the morning.
Oh, two. Well, that's a perfect time.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, thank you for coming in tonight, Andy. Wonderful to have you here. If we now turn our sights on the upper Midwest, the man who could see the aurora, if he actually looked, let's welcome in Hollywood Harold. How's it going, Harold?
Top of the evening to you, gentlemen, ladies. Just here in the back cave, just hanging out, man. Just waiting to see what to dig up tonight.
Nice. You got the Bat Cave there. Little Boy Wonder with you? Perhaps you're...
No, I'm the evil one, man. I don't have a sidekick.
You don't have a sidekick, but you have a butler by the name of Alfred.
Yeah, but he does have gray hair, and he's not a black man either, so I don't tell
Well,
you.
there you go. Thank you very much for being here, Hollywood. Well, let's turn our sights on our remote viewing, targeter. Let's welcome in our very own Laura Campbell. How's it going, Laura?
Going great. Here's to you tonight, Thomas, and another good show.
Cheers. I'll cheers my coffee. I'm double fisting here. Cheers, my friend. Also in the back, let's go ahead and take our sights and put it on Southern California. It's the place you ought to be. It's someone who's been around for a while and someone who we cannot miss on the show. Let's welcome in our very own Faze Will. How's it going, Will?
Hey, Thomas. Good to see you, man. How are you doing?
I used to be 6'4", probably not that much as I used to be, but not doing so bad. It's actually sunny out here, a little cool, but it seems to be warmer, and I can see the trees turning color behind you. How about that? Welcome to fall.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to see you as well. Also in the back, it looks like we got our friend Syrup here, my friend. Bringing out the Barney cup, the Barney Rubble Syrup cup. How's it going, my friend?
Going good, Thomas. I look forward to Friday night's show. It's always a good one on Friday.
Oh,
so.
I know. It's one of those things where you get ready for...
And here, with his bird's eye view and a brain to match, is Mr. Know-It-All.
Yeah, that's right. I'll stop it. And then that takes us back to our dear friend on the East Coast, New York, I think. Let's welcome in Tia Loreno. How's it going, Tia?
Hey, Thomas. Good to be here. Excited for the show. This is where I'm at on Fridays.
You better believe it. You better believe it in the man, the legend who brought us Fuck You Fridays. Mike, Disclosure, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going well. Weather here in the city is a little crappy tonight, but I think we're going to have a fun conversation for our Friday night audience, Tommy.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Where did that one go? I just saw it here a second ago. I had a really cool clip I was showing to our friends before the show started. I thought it was at the top of my bookmarks. Where did it go? I know I was showing it to Nick and everybody, and it was like, the quote was, only in Florida. And it's not here. I'll have to find it. We'll run into it eventually. But wonderful to have you here, Mike. Our hearts and love goes out to our friends in the southeastern United States, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. Man, they all got freaking flooded today. Holy cow, what a mess. Even Tennessee.
Yeah, I saw that.
Tim Burchett's hometown. My God, it was like someone had 4 feet of water up inside their house, almost hitting the old antique cuckoo clock.
Yeah, it's like they're getting ready to build an ark over there.
Didn't they, though?
Out of the Bible.
No, isn't there a Bible park somewhere in the southeastern United States?
There is. I'm just not sure of the exact location of that. Harold, you know the location of that? I see your hand is up.
It's called the life-size
dams. There were a couple of dams that were about ready to burst or something. I seen evacuation somewhere earlier.
Oh, yeah, there are several dams getting ready to build. Now, about that large ark that's out there, Mike, it's actually called the Ark Encounter, and that is located in northern Kentucky.
Interesting.
So, yeah, they may have gotten some massive flooding going on around there. But, if you look at all the flooding that's been going on everywhere around in the world right now, it's not surprising, is it, Mike?
No. You said that the weather has been acting up for a while now, a long time. Nothing new with this.
Yeah, we're getting into something that's climate disruption. It's something that happens when you go through a geomagnetic flip of the magnetic poles, where the North Pole is going to go where the South Pole is, and they come together, and it flips and goes crazy, and the world turns upside down momentarily, potentially sending giant mile-high waves cascading over the continents. It's a wonderful time, but we're heading in that way, it looks like.
It certainly does. Between that and the solar activity, it's messing around with our atmosphere and the weather.
Well, you have to look at it. Out of all the planets right now in our solar system, every single one except Mercury is going through notable climate change right now. And I have to say, what are we doing on planet Earth right now, Mike, that's causing all of the planets in our solar system to go through climate change?
It's not us. That's just how it works.
Oh,
Nature.
You mean it's the sun or the solar system or the galaxy for that matter?
Correct.
Yeah, there's bigger things in play here, potentially. Remember there for the longest time, they were saying the humans were the ones who actually killed off all the giant megafauna. No, it was actually, impacts coming from space that were exploding in the sky and raining down tons of material and killing what was below it. Flaming pieces of molten rock coming from the sky. Gotta love that one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
End of world. End of times. When you see that.
Oh, it's never the end of the world. Maybe the end of our time or something that we're going to go with here. Humans always want to take everything and make it so fatalistic on our time frame when the Earth has been around for billions of years. And is the Earth still here? Oh, yeah.
Well, we've talked about this on the show before. Hasn't there been like 6 extinction level events that have occurred? on this planet?
We've never counted them, but if we go back, I'm sure we could find there has been several. There's been many, yes.
Yes. So everything can come to an end, but it seems to start back up over again.
But what was it? There was a recent survey going to Lake Michigan. They found like 20 or 30 major impact locations under Lake Michigan, believe it or not.
Oh, I do believe it.
Yeah, that just came out.
That
just came out in the Science News today. They were going and doing a survey up near Milwaukee where there were a bunch of shipwrecks that had happened. But when they were going through it, they actually brought out NOAA and other people because they were finding these giant impact craters in the bottom of Lake Michigan. So yeah, you look at the moon, you look at Mars, you look at all the other planets, and you see all these impact locations for the one that don't have a great atmosphere, and just realize Earth got all that too. We just have a short memory.
We do, but the history books tend to keep track, so can't forget.
Oh, you got that, my friend. Well, coming into our first story today, getting out of the history books and turning back to what's going on in the world today. Japan's new prime minister, Shigeru Ishiba, is a former defense minister and founding member of the country's parliamentary group dedicated to UFOs. How about that? Now, Mike, I have to ask the question. Do you think that's going to, where's that studio desk? No, video, full guest. Do you think this is going to change things up for Japan's position on whether or not they're acknowledging UFOs, sharing the information with their public, now that you've got someone who is the founding member of... It's like taking Tim Burchett equivalent, Mike.
Right.
And he becomes president. That's what they got. I mean, not that saying anything else with Tim Burchett, but Tim Burchett has been the stalwart, the person with the loudest voice. He has been Peter from Peter and the Wolf, who's been calling wolf for the longest time, but there actually is a wolf there. But he has had the loudest voice about what's going on in American politics going back for 3-4 years at this point. An amazing individual. Now, with respect to just the conversation with regards to UFOs, this is the guy who wears that same hat in Japan. What do you think this will do for disclosure potentially coming from Southeast Asia, Mike?
Well, if they're not keeping it locked down as tightly as we are, and they actually have something credible that they could bring out publicly, I think it could potentially turn disclosure on its head if something credible comes out.
Right. Because it comes down to it. The United States has had this under lock and key going back for 75, 76, 77 years, if not much longer. We go back to the stuff that happened at the end of World War II of that UFO coming from Magenta, Italy, that we supposedly got our hands on thanks to the Pope at that period of time and bringing it back. We've had our hands in the cookie jar for a long period of time trying to figure this out.
Or cover it up in case in the situation of our government.
Well, yeah. Isn't that always the case?
Yes, it is, unfortunately.
You know, there's so many opportunities we have to bring forward the truth, but there's so much opportunity for everyone to keep everything covered up because there's so much big money involved with it. Isn't that usually how it goes? If there's big money involved, it's nothing we're going to talk about.
Oh, it's always about the money, the military-industrial complex, and our tax dollars hard at work.
Yeah. Count the Monet.
Blazing Saddles. No, History of the World Part 1.
Yes, count the Monet, count the money, count the money. No, it's not count the money, it's count the Monet.
Right.
You gotta have some fun with it. Well, you know, I have to bring this up. You know, we've heard so much about the Nazca mummies. So much about the Nazca mummies for a while. And I gotta bring this up because I see this and it's just like, it's too much to not call a cart, a Chevy, a Blazer for that matter.
Right.
Let's bring it up. Steven Spielberg had based his extraterrestrial characters on South American folklore. Consulted by ufologist J. Allen Hynek, who's actually in the final scene of the movie, my friends. You just have to look at the one on the left compared to the one on the right. The neck, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, of course, they're pulled shut. The shape of the front of the head, the back of the head where the ears could be. It's just
a striking resemblance.
And this isn't one of those things saying, oh, wow, I wonder how that happened. How could they have come up with that thousands of years ago? And how could we be finding a 747 inside the pyramids? This is more than that. This is actually something that's there where you have to look at it. It's undeniable. Now, one thing that was said that Steven Spielberg had consultants who were in the U.S. government who were feeding him information about what was going on with the non-human intelligence, what this stuff could potentially look like. Even Lou Elizondo, who didn't watch the movie as a child, saw it as an adult, and he was taken aback by how similar this stuff was to things he was familiar with. Although we could never get more than that out of him. Mike, it's just too striking of a similarity. You know, and I've said there's a small percentage, some of this stuff could be real, and potentially there might be something there.
If there's something there, I would love to see it. You would completely change my mind on the whole thing, this subject. All they have to do is do DNA sampling and conclusively prove it's not anything of this earth. But so far, that evidence hasn't come forward.
Yeah. Well, Anthony Mack after death says 801%. Actually says USA, also known as the cover-up nation. 100% truth, unfortunately. Yeah. It looks like there's, you got to remember, too, not only has it piqued my interest, but it's also piqued the interest of Representative Tim Burchett and Anna Polina Luna, who, my gosh, I wonder if Jaime Maussan could be one of the people one of the witnesses for the upcoming hearing.
I certainly hope not for the disclosure movement.
Not meaning to throw any grift towards the upcoming hearing. We all look forward to that, but you just have to put all cards on the table, right? Face up. Let's see where all of our hands are. And potentially, Maria could be one of the witnesses for it, but you never know what's going to be. Really quick, I want to go ahead and thank Anthony Mack after death for that wonderful super chat. Holy cow, remember every dollar that comes in Disclosure Tonight. Yeah, that goes back into our production fund here at Disclosure Tonight. I am humbled and thankful for your love and support of everything we do here at Disclosure Tonight. Thank you, Anthony Mack after death, for the new picture and for the super chat, my friend. Thank you very much. Let me push that down to the quiet in the background, and let's move on to see what we've got coming up on the news yet. Oh, Mike, I'm so glad you're here on this one. There's an important term. We've got a clip here.
Hold this.
Coming out from what do you call it?
Corbell and Knapp.
Corbell and Knapp. Thank you very much. My mind could not get it out. Yes, I have memory issues. That's called ADD. It's been that way my whole life. I guess I could take my Adderall, but my heart doesn't like it. So let's get into this. There are some, the quote of the topic of this one is, the public has valid concerns that the intelligence community may have conducted unlawful domestic operations targeting American citizens, meaning we've had some people in the intelligence community, Mike, potentially going and pushing operations against the people of the United States to try and cover stuff up, to put out false information, potentially like the stuff that Susan Goff likes to put out there on a regular basis, or the stuff we were hearing from Sean Kirkpatrick back in the day, and just, your general misinformation and disinformation, right? Right. But there's some keywords in here. that I think you may be familiar with, that we're going to talk about, whether you like it or not, after we hear this clip. Let's listen in. And I think it deals with the term, Mike, an agent provocateur.
Oh, God. Does it really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I think this is where it's coming from. Let's listen in.
I mean, look, there were fanatics, there were researchers, there were spooks, there were even agent provocateurs. And I don't think I've ever told this story publicly, and I'm actually not sure it's the right thing to do right now, but there were agent provocateurs there to try to be able to shut it down by causing a problem. And I directly was engaged by an agent provocateur by Area 51 during that. Maybe I will tell that story with you sometime, George. But I mean, look, there were fanatics, there were researchers, there were.
Okay, so we've heard it 3 times. Let's see if ChatGPT. An agent provocateur is a person. Let's bring this up to definition. An agent provocateur is a person employed to encourage others to commit illegal acts or to incite unrest or rebellion, often to entrap or incriminate them. These individuals typically work covertly within an activist or protest groups to manipulate situations that lead to arrests or expose certain activities. The term comes from the French meaning of inciting agent or provoking agent. The practice has been historically used by law enforcement, intelligence agencies, or political groups to disrupt or discredit opposition movements. Now, Mike, we've heard this term thrown around by some people. I believe it was Jack Sephardi who was accused of being an agent provocateur by someone, wasn't it?
He was. You're right. Because sometimes people can't agree with each other, right? Or they openly attack each other, right. And then words like this get thrown around pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I believe even in this part of the same conversation, even Colonel John Alexander came out and said, "Well, I'm an agent provocateur, then, right?"
Well, you and I are well aware that there is a bit of a history between Colonel John Alexander and Dr. Jack Sephardi.
Well, and there's others, and there's someone else involved in this conversation whose name we're not going to mention.
Correct. So I believe that Colonel Alexander was referencing Jack being referred to as an agent provocateur and just piling on because they're like the odd couple, Felix and Oscar, those two.
But sometimes they get along saying, well, if you're one, I'm one too, right?
No, I think it was the opposite of that. I don't think they get along. Not for many decades now.
Well, yeah. That's true.
But you know what? But they communicate with each other daily. And for somebody that has so much turmoil with the other person, if there's some sort of an attraction that keeps them continuing the verbal battles. So there's more to that than meets the eye, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to deal with somebody, you just don't talk to them anymore. It ends there.
No. That's one of those antagonistic relationships, almost like a husband and wife.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, oh my God, it's almost like Felix and Oscar had a relationship we didn't know about.
Right.
But by judging by his size, I'd say Felix was the bitch. Am I right?
Yes, he was. That's how he played it.
Oh my God, yes.
Definitely on the bottom.
That is true on that one. All right, so there has been a lot of shit being slung between people this week on Twitter.
Oh God.
We've had people getting thrown under the bus. Like
yes.
The UFO Joe Murgia, right?
Murgia,
yeah. He was thrown under the bus because he heard information coming from possibly what's his name again?
McGowan?
No, UAPTF guy.
Oh, Rogue UAPTF. Yeah.
No, not Rogue UAPTF. The guy who used to head up the UAPTF. Jay Stratton.
Oh, Jay Stratton. There we go.
Yeah, he had some information from Stratton potentially that was conflicting with Lou. And because of that, out in the public, there was a major collision that happened. And because of that, because Joe questioned, Joe and Lou didn't see eye and eye. But after that happened, everyone from Team Lou totally piled on the UFO Joe and started attacking the guy.
Yes, they did.
Old school style.
Yes, because
but it doesn't end there. Yeah, he got blocked by Lou, which Lou said he unblocked everybody now, but he's now gone and blocked the UFO Joe on that matter. It's just thin skins everywhere, my friend.
It seems that way, yeah.
Yeah, but then what happens is if you say anything against Lou, Heather Lee and everybody else just piles on and starts attacking. Now, a similar thing happened, was it last week, Monday or so? That there was an article that came out in the Liberation Times that was edited down, and some stuff was pulled out of it. It talked about some some agencies that were involved in the the retrievals.
Undersea reconnaissance agency, like the NRO.
Right. But these are part of the United States government, like from the CIA, like we heard from the OGA, the Office of Global Access, which was handling crash retrievals on the surface. There was another part of the article that was put out there by Christopher Sharp that was talking about an undersea equivalent to that agency, right?
That's correct.
Right.
That was operated, yeah.
Now,
under naval intelligence, I believe.
Chris had this in his original article, but then he pulled it out without pulling a retraction, saying anything out there. And when Christopher pulled that out, it was covered by Deeding Johnson, because Deeding Johnson, people want to, everyone's been piling on and throwing the hate on him because he pointed out that Christopher Sharp had something in his article that he pulled out, and he gave the exact excerpt about what was pulled out. And then Christopher Sharp came back and said, someone's pushing this stuff out there and they're putting me in harm's way, right?
Right. That's what was going on between those two.
So, and because coming out of that, and Dean John, it was that one piece talking about this undersea UFO recovery operation that was going on, you just have to look at it and say, if that was something that you were saying that could potentially put you or your family in harm's way, right?
Right.
You don't put it out in the public eye and put yourself and your family at risk, right?
Correct.
But
that's the smart thing.
But this reminds me of the stuff like when Jason Sands came out, right? You had covered some things about Jason Sands, about a screenshot that came out from James Fox that had his name on a clipboard, and you put it together, you found the information, you brought it out, and you got message after message after message on people behind the scenes on Twitter saying, please delete your tweet, please bring it down. He wasn't ready to come out now. This is wrong. You need to delete it, right?
Correct. That's exactly what happened.
It's exactly what happened. And this feels similar. This is something where, this just feels like the most unprofessional organization that's out there. Just saying, it's very amateur hour in some respects with regards to intelligence.
There's too much drama. That's the problem. That's the heart of it all.
Right.
And we've talked about this on the show for a long time.
Yeah. So Deeding Johnson, who is a great resource, brings a lot of good information out with regards to what happens in Congress, what's going on in the different places. When Christopher Sharp initially came out and said that, that the reason that the UAPDA failed was because of, what's his name again, from Tennessee.
Tim Burchett?
Not Tim
Burchett. No, Ohio. You're talking about Mike.
No. The guy in the House of Representatives, the Libertarian guy.
What state? Tennessee?
From Tennessee.
You got me on that one.
Oh, God. Come on, audience. Help me here.
Burchett?
Not Burchett. Not Tennessee. No, wait. Burchett's from, what's right next? Kentucky. From Kentucky.
Oh, Rand Paul.
Rand Paul. Thank you very much. I'm
Dr.
sorry.
Rand Paul.
Elmer Whitaker got you about the same time. So, I'm sorry, my mind is off today. It's just one of the things. Yeah, so Rand Paul.
Yes.
I guess he's from Kentucky. They were blaming it on Rand Paul initially, and he was the reason that the UAPDA failed, right? But it was Dean Johnson who came out and said, no, it wasn't him. He's clear of that. And it turned out that Dean Johnson was correct on this one. And what's the latest on the reason that the UAPDA failed? Mitch McConnell. No, it was supposedly Mitch McConnell. The turtle.
Right.
The turtle took it down.
Didn't he have seizures live on the air that we covered as well? Mitch McConnell, where he was just zoning out like Biden. So he's not really competent, I believe, mentally to be doing much of anything one way or the other.
Oh, God, yeah.
Right.
We've seen
covered that.
We've seen people like that in the House of Representatives before, haven't we, Mike?
We have Dianne Feinstein.
Weekend at Diane's, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She was still voting.
Exactly. Well, somebody was
up
voting.
To the end. Yeah. Poor Mitch.
Well,
so
speaking of which, since we're touching base on this subject, did you know that it came out that people were questioning the mental competency of the current administration, and people from within the executive branch stated there is no cause for alarm, that the current administration is not directly in control. There is a group of individuals who have been running the show the entire time. They didn't say who, they didn't say how, but they did say that the current administration is on autopilot. Now, that's interesting because regardless of what you think of our elected official, they were duly voted into office, and they should be the ones who are governing the country.
Unless there's something that goes on where they invoke the 25th Amendment, right?
But they didn't do that. What they did is they circumvented the 25th Amendment. They put this controlling group into play, and they're the ones that are claiming that they've been running the country while this mental health crisis has been going on. Which is circumventing the Constitution of the United States, which I find interesting that they have the ability to do something like that without the public's knowledge or consent. So interesting times we're in with stuff like this coming out.
You've got to. Absolutely. Let me see if I can find the original one on this one.
But we suspected that all along. We talked about it on the show, you and I.
Yeah.
You said somebody's doing something. It can't possibly be with the person in the White House right now. They're not calling the shots.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. It's one of those things you just have to take a look at and just take a step back and try to figure out where we're at, where we're going next. And more importantly, about where we're going next, the biggest quote we've got here, an exclusive, coming from Ask a Poll.
Yes, this is a good one.
Oh, my. This is the quote of the century, Mike. This is the quote of the century. I have to say this one. Exclusive. Chair Nancy Mace previews fall UAP hearing. Quote, I need some people who've maybe seen some shit and can tell us some stuff. She tells Ask a Poll after her meeting with the UAP caucus co-chairs Tim Burchett and real Anna Polina Luna.
There you go.
I need some people who've maybe seen some shit and maybe can tell us some stuff.
Now, how many things are wrong with that statement that you could point out? I could point out a few.
Please. I'm just looking at this. Saying this is coming from someone in Congress. This is the statement from a chair of a committee who's going to have a really serious hearing about UFOs. And I need some people who've maybe seen some shit. Go ahead, Mike.
Right. Okay, so the way that I can break it down is last year when they had the last House Oversight Committee public UAP hearing on July 26th, where David Grusch and David Fravor and Ryan Graves had testified, they had the entire time from then to now to prepare for the next public UAP hearing. If she wants to have this hearing November 13th, and we're now at the end of September, that means they don't have any of their ducks in a row yet, and they're scrambling to put something together before showtime. That's a bad sign.
Now, the date that they have the hearing set for, Mike, is the day they get back from vacation, November 13th.
Right, because we're having a general election on November 6th.
Yeah.
That's when everyone votes for the next administration.
Uh-huh.
So there's no way they're going to be doing any type of a hearing like this during that time.
Yeah. Harold, what are your thoughts on this statement? It seems really vague and seems a little bit not so professional coming from the head of a committee in Congress. What do you think, Harold?
Well, it doesn't sound like a very educated statement to me. That maybe seen some shit. You can tell us some stuff. That's just pretty generic all the way around, isn't it?
It's high school.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
It doesn't convey a lot of confidence in me.
Oh, I'll rephrase that. I'll say middle school. Rick Roberts, you have your hand up.
To me, it sounds like frustration. We need people that have had their firsthand witnesses that have had their hands on it and touched the stuff.
Well, say that. We need some firsthand witnesses, not maybe some people who've seen some shit.
Right. Not someone that's telling campfire stories. We need people that can bring us like Grusch, more Grushes that tell us where the programs are.
But we had Grusch last year, and where did Grusch get us?
Yeah, they silenced him. Why?
Where did he cross the line in areas he shouldn't have crossed the line? You know, there's been rumors out there, Rick, with regards to that Grusch's op-ed in January, February, March of this year was shut down because Grusch said too much when he was out there talking. If you've also noticed, there's been a change of conversation coming out of Lou. A lot of things in the past that Lou used to talk about, he's saying, I can't talk about that. It's not in the book. I haven't been cleared to say it. But you have to wonder and ask the question, why were you able to talk about it in the past, but you can't talk about it now? It's the same thing going on with Grusch. It just seems like even though that went on, he's been silent for the most part all year. I mean, there was like one statement that came out through a third party earlier in the year with regards to some of the stuff going on. But did you expect Grusch to be so quiet this year, or so quiet since the last UAP hearing?
Definitely not.
No, not at all. But let's remind our audience what it was that came out at the beginning of this year when Grusch had appeared at the Wall Street VIP hearing. And let me remind everybody that he had a second DOPSA clearance that he had approved before he spoke publicly at that private Wall Street meeting. And the second DOPSA clearance was also for the op-ed that he was going to release around that time. Now, what he had said privately was that he confirmed that the United States is in possession of a craft that is 40 feet in diameter on the outside, but over 300 feet on the inside. That's something we've never heard anybody from the government side come forward and say. He did. The next thing that he said is that the biologics that he testified about in Congress, he's now confirmed that it is in fact the gray type that had been reported by abductees for decades. That's the type of biologics that the government is in possession of. This is information that has never come out publicly before, and he confirmed it at that meeting. And then he was supposed to release all that information publicly in the op-ed. But after he said that and it leaked out, the op-ed disappeared. He became silent. And this is going back beginning of this year, and we haven't heard anything since.
Because if you remember, Grusch was initially supposed to be going ahead and
Working
presenting.
for Congress.
No, he was supposed to be presenting at the SALT conference this year.
Yeah, but he withdrew at the last minute.
Well, exactly. He pulled out of it, and that left Carl Null to go ahead and talk.
It did.
Which was a cut down speech of what we heard from the SALT conference.
Exactly. So something happened after he came out at that private meeting and that information came forward. Something got shut down hard and fast across the board. And that's the point, I think, what you and I are trying to convey to the audience. So they need to know that that's what's been going on.
Oh, gosh, yes.
So now this upcoming meeting, this hearing, the second UAP hearing, it doesn't sound to me like they have anything organized. They know who's going to appear, and they know what's going to be said. It seems like they're scrambling. They don't have their ducks in a row yet.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Just to cover Grusch in New York City, right?
Yes,
Grusch
sir.
appeared to have given a private presentation. Let me go ahead and bring up this picture as I talk about this here in this particular point. I just want to go ahead and make sure I've got info to cover this. Let's get let's video full guest. Here we go. Let's bring this up here. Where'd it go? Where did I do with it? Okay, so David Grusch was in New York City. Oh, where the hell? Who's around the different monitors here? All right. To have given a private presentation to 60 people, organized by a Wall Street bigwig.
Correct.
Okay, now what did he cover? An adversary country is considering UFO disclosure to get ahead of the U.S., and I would probably say that's probably China more than it is Russia.
Right.
We've seen more sightings, more information coming out from China, and if they can use this to get ahead and push their advancement in the worldview forward, they're going to do it. The non-human intelligence related to UAP look like a typical gray alien, right?
Correct.
Next, the U.S. has a UFO craft with a diameter of about 40 feet. However, once a person goes inside, now again, this is talking about a UFO that is in the possession of the United States government, that once a person goes inside, this craft that has a diameter of 40 feet appears to be the size of a football field. And the craft is able to produce 1 terawatt. That is 1 to 100 million, billion, trillion. This is basically equivalent to a trillion watts of electricity. Now, only about 50 people know the full extent of the nature of the UFO phenomenon in the United States to this day. And Grusch remains hopeful for UFO disclosure. Now, this was in January, right?
Yes.
And the actual tweet, no, what I've got here is, do I have another shot of the video here? Let's bring this up here. There's another shot of Grusch at the overall conference and what was going on. Yes, Eli McGinnis, only 50 people, for that matter, have access to it. And this came out on January 8th, 2024. Now,
yes, sir.
It's either potentially something David Grusch said at this investors meeting or something he said to other people that basically shut down his ability to have his op-ed in the New York Times or wherever it was going to be coming from because he said too much. Now, there's been other rumors out there whether or not Dave still does not have his security clearance at this time. It's to be determined, right, Mike?
Yes, that's correct. But what I wanted to add real quick was that he flew in just for this meeting that night. And then immediately after the meeting, it was 2 hours, he flew back out. He didn't stay. And he was also supposed to release his op-ed shortly after this meeting. But now, it wasn't just Wall Street financial VIPs at the meeting. There were members of the intelligence community, including CIA. And they heard everything that came out of his mouth. I'm sure, especially the CIA, they did not like hearing that at all.
No.
And after that, it got really quiet from then to now.
Yeah. You know what we need to get past is somebody said something or somebody saw something, and we're going to talk about it. We need actually some real factual information to start coming out at this point in time. There's a lot of what is the old saying, bro, trust me?
Trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro.
He said, she said.
Yeah.
Yep. No, we need to have them wheel out a gray caucus. Or
we need the facts, like I have a transformer for MacBook. It's physical. I can hold it. I can show it to you. I can show you the weight and everything that goes along with it. And if I drop it, it's going to bounce and make some noise. We need better than that coming with respect to bringing out the truth. Not just some people who may have seen something, have seen some shit, right?
Right. Which is what Nancy Mace was appealing to the public and saying, we need somebody that saw something that will be able to talk and tell us about it, which is really grade school, like you said.
Yeah. Now,
I mean, the only person that can talk about it is like
Nick, raise your hand.
That's okay. He's here already. He got it out the door.
Go.
Nick, go ahead.
Go ahead, Nick.
Person that they need
You're
to talk
breaking
to.
up, Nick.
We got you, Nick. Go ahead. Just talk.
Carl Nell is the person that they need to talk to, but I don't know if he's willing to go there. That's the problem.
Well, I would think, considering Carl Nell's involvement trying to get the UAPDA written and passed, right? Carl Nell would be one of the first people to raise his hands. I don't think Carl Nell would be one of those witnesses who you're gonna have to force and compel to testify as a hostile witness, right, Mike?
Well, here's the thing. If you remember, Thomas, he was supposed to testify at the first UAP hearing with Grusch to back up the claims that Grusch was making publicly. Why? Because then we found out later that at the UAP task force, Colonel Carl Nell was one of the directors, and David Grusch answered to him. He was Grusch's boss.
I wonder if Carl Nell. I wonder if Carl Nell, because he was going to testify, that's what kicked him out of the running to take over Aro. That Kozlowski eventually got the head.
Yeah, but my point, what I was leading up to is that he didn't testify. He withdrew at the last minute, if you remember.
Supposedly
he
wasn't he compelled not to testify, saying that we're going to screw up your opportunity to work and other kinds of stuff that we heard behind the scenes.
They were going to put his clearance in jeopardy.
Yeah,
which is how he earns a living. So he withdrew his testimony at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what's going on. Yeah.
It's such a mockery of things just kind of turning and churning, and people on UFO Twitter. You know, it's like we have two factions, right? This is explained to me by Attorney Morris many times, that we have two hills, two mountains on either side of Disclosure. We have the people who are on Disclosure side, the people who are on the pushback side, and we're stuck in the middle here. And you've got one battle coming on and another battle coming on, going ahead, and all these battles going over the head, and we're just sitting here watching all this stuff going on, hoping to figure out where we're going to get to in the long run, because you know it's a mess. Talking about a mess. Hopefully it's not as much as a mess. Let's get into this one. Representative Anna Polina Luna, with regards to the witnesses attending the November 13th UFO hearing. Well, not that one. I'm too big. There we go. Nope, not that one. Go. No. Here we go. Video full guest. Let's bring it up. With regards to the witnesses attending the November 13th UFO hearing, you guys will be happy.
Will we?
The UFO community is never happy. We never can agree on stuff. So what could Happy mean? Tim Gallaudet? Probably.
Well, we know already he's testifying.
Maybe Carl Nell. Lou Elizondo was maybe hinted he could be testifying.
He said if he was asked, but I don't believe he was asked. He's on his book tour right now.
Supposedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. So it's one of those things you just have to figure out. Who could possibly come out that could really open this? Move the needle to something beyond David Grusch.
Jim Lukatsky.
Yeah, he's someone. He said if he was brought in front of Congress and they asked him the questions, he'd lie.
He would lie under oath.
He would lie under oath. You know, do you think this could have something to do with the termination clause? If you're not familiar with the termination clause is, which basically means that if you go ahead and violate any parts of this agreement, we have the right to not terminate your agreement. We have the right to terminate you.
You know what would throw a monkey wrench into everything right now with the stuff that you and I've talked about privately? If Jay Stratton testified publicly. Now, that would be interesting, don't you think?
Now, a couple of years ago, Lou had said you should expect to see me with Jay Stratton sitting next to me.
Yeah, I'd like to see
testify.
That.
So, you know, potentially.
Could he testify?
Well, potentially. But you would see Lou with Stratton next to him. I think that's how it was described, wasn't it, Mike? Were you there for that conversation?
Yes. Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, you were there. Yep. Not saying who we heard it from, but we did hear that.
Yes, we did.
That potentially we would see Lou Elizondo with Jay Stratton testifying next to him, but potentially based on the conversations we've heard on Twitter and other places, Lou and Jay, at least based on what Jay's wife has been saying.
Correct. We covered that on the show publicly.
Don't get along so well.
Because that was out there. No. Yeah. They don't seem to, for some reason.
No. And what's the one thing? We heard from Jay's wife on a lot of this stuff. But generally, what happens, Mike, when you're in a relationship and you have a husband or you have a wife and they talk about stuff, it's generally how people really feel about something, right?
If you want to know what the household is doing, you usually talk to the wife before you talk to the husband.
Oh, we know about that. We know about that one completely. Hello. How's your vacation doing? Hopefully it's doing better for you than your friend.
Yeah. So we know exactly how that works. But the information that's come out recently, after that statement was originally made a year ago, the climate seems to have changed according to what we've heard publicly. So I don't know how that would play out. That's why I said if it turned out to be something like that, that would be interesting.
Oh, God, yeah, it's always interesting. Talking about interesting, Brian, you just joined it. What brought you in here and what say you?
And Harold has had his hand up and then Rick.
I guess.
Go ahead, Harold. No, listen, Brian, if you're there, jump in.
I was just thinking, Hal put
No,
off.
he's not. He is, but he's not home. So, Harold, go ahead.
Go ahead, Harold.
Hal put off.
What did I miss?
I don't know if that's a name in the hat or not.
Oh, I don't know either. But the point was that if Jay Stratton testified publicly this time around, that would be interesting, especially because of everything that's come out publicly lately about him and his wife. So I'd love to see that testimony at the next UAP hearing. It might be more entertaining than it would be moving the needle. Possibility. A lot of drama.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Rick, you're next.
Just talking about Jay Stratton's wife, and I'm kind of putting like two and two together. Maybe I'm making up assumptions. Is she an experiencer? And is she possibly the one that Lou was talking about that had implant removed from. Does anyone know about that?
No, I would say the stuff that went on, potentially they were the ones who were seeing the green orbs, from what we've heard.
That's what we've heard.
Right. Now,
In addition to Lou, or is this something?
Well, there's a break in discussion with regards to what was said coming from Lou and what is being said from Jay Stratton's wife. There's a disconnect in continuity. Is that a good way to say it, Mike?
I think it's a perfect way to describe it.
And we're going to leave this up to Lou and Jay to go ahead and address. We're not going to speculate it because we don't know where this could possibly lie. And if we try to go ahead and set our flag on one side or the other, we will get attacked by both sides.
Well, we're not taking one side or the other. We're just reporting the facts.
Oh gosh, yeah. Really quick, I want to thank FaZe Will for a super chat of $19.99. I missed that. Thank you very much, Will. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
So it looks like Brian dropped out.
Well, he's back. He came in companion mode where his microphone wouldn't work. His hand is up. Brian, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know how that came into companion mode.
You came in and basically said, I want to present or do something else, and that's companion mode in Google. So you clicked the wrong button when you went to join the meeting.
Yeah, I must have. So I apologize if that messed
don't
up
worry
the show,
about
guys.
it.
Sorry about that.
I let you in anyway, Brian. Don't worry. You could have came and talked.
Well, I appreciate it. I just want to bring up, let's not forget our own Rick Doty has always said that he'd be more than willing to go and testify. He's brought up some people with the firsthand account of the shoot down in Alaska from the pilot and stuff. They've given testimony. So, plenty of people Nancy Mays can talk to get a bunch of great witnesses.
I hope
up
so.
For them to figure out. Yeah, we'd like to see what they actually come up with on November 13th.
I can't wait to find I can't wait to see the people who have maybe seen some shit. And maybe know something, because you know what? I've actually seen a bunch of UFOs flying right in front of my house on a regular basis. So I have seen some shit, and I can talk about something too. So potentially I could be considered for that as well.
Yeah, that would be great. We'd be able to cover it live here on the show.
Oh, you better believe it, my friend. Oh, another super chat from FaZe Will. Thank you very much, FaZe Will. Like, share, and subscribe. Remember, everybody, if you haven't gone ahead and give us a follow, do us a favor and give us a subscribe. We'd love to have you as a regular viewer here in Disclosure tonight. And if you haven't given us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, give us one or the other. We'd love to have you as a regular subscriber here in Disclosure tonight. Well, yes, we'll get down to the shoot down photo coming shortly, but wait a minute. I've got more here. Yes, I've got more alien mummies talking about the specimen with several osmium implants in it. I think it's like 6 or 7, my gosh, throughout the body of this poor little creature that looks really similar to what was brought out by Steven Spielberg in the past. Mike, I hate to do this to you, but I've got one I'm going to bring up. Here we go. Let's get out here and just play this clip. Less audio. There was one in the head. One in the bottom of the cervical area. 2 of them, actually. Another one in the T-spine area of the spine. A little bit further down, there's another one. Now, osmium is a very rare metal. So we're seeing these different implants in these creatures, and we don't understand what's going on and why we're seeing it. All it is I have to go back to that initial picture that I had going at the start of the show. There's just something that's there that's intriguing, that could be more than what we realize. And humanity always wants to put stuff in a box, Mike, and actually put a label on it. But potentially, this is one of those things that we're going to have to look at for the long term and try and figure out what exactly are we dealing with here. And potentially, it could be something more than we realize.
All they would have to do is a scientific DNA analysis to determine if it's of this earth or not. And I'm waiting to see when or if they ever get around to doing something like that. The jury is still out.
Right. Let me see if I can find the original one here. I've got a video I've got a video here that I've played in the past. There's a video here of Malcolm Curie, who is the former head of Hughes Engineering.
Didn't you have a video of dancing mummies that you were going to show?
Well, we'll get to that one eventually. Yes, that's
okay.
Further down the list. But let's just play this little clip. I'm not sure what kind of where we're going to get to. This is where, this is a very important person who said, yes, there's aliens. And you look at this guy and all of his credentials of who he is. And I have this in my bookmarks. I don't have the full video here, unfortunately, but let's just play this little clip here just to go ahead and get to it. Here we go. Video full guest. Here we go. Let's play this.
Curry, and there are aliens.
So, Malcolm Curie, who's the former CEO of Howard Hughes Engineering and had a message for the rest of the world before he passed away. And what is he saying exactly? Let's listen again.
Curry, and there are aliens.
And this is showing all of the different awards and everything that this gentleman has received in his part in the military, in his part of being the head of Hughes Engineering. And he wanted us to know before he passed away that, yes, there are aliens. And I'm saying this because I know, and I just got a request for Charo, so here we go. All right, there we go. So, a very powerful person who has received countless awards wanting to tell us before he died.
And there are aliens.
He wants us to know before he died that there are aliens. I would go ahead and have to say, Mike, this is a message from someone that actually has more meaning from anything we could get from any of our former veterans who are writing books or other people. Because this gentleman, look at the stuff he has put out there, and he's saying, without a doubt, there are aliens. What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
It's a bold statement. His credentials are outstanding. So for him to make a controversial, and the legal term would be deathbed confession, the statement that he's making right before he passed away. So that would hold up in court. It's very interesting. And it's something that we believe is the truth, because we're not alone on this earth. And he was touching base on that before he passed away.
Yeah. But do you think that would be world news before he passed away? It should be.
Yes.
But it wasn't. Yeah.
Right.
Rick, go ahead.
Rick.
Was this something that was recent?
No, this is back a long time ago, back around 2021.
Did he elaborate any more than just that one little statement?
No, this is just he had one statement coming out that there are aliens, and then showing all the credentials of everything that he had. His statement was to say that there are aliens. That was the only statement he wanted to come across, and to say, yes, there are aliens. I think he's completely believable in what he's trying to bring across, and you have to take someone who's on a deathbed confession and thank them for the service they're trying to do to humanity to bring out the truth.
I agree. He's very credible. So that statement should carry more weight than it unfortunately does currently. But that goes back to the point you made about the upcoming hearing. People are tired about hearing stories. They really need to see concrete evidence, or they're not going to really take it too seriously. That's the real problem with all of this, with all of these people. We've heard all of this already by people credible, like we heard now on the video, but that's something that people are going to take too seriously unless they have concrete evidence to support that we are not alone on this earth. That's the bottom line.
I know. Interesting part interesting part, getting back to governments about bringing out the truth and everything. Remember how we were saying one of the biggest people we should have heard information about the UAPDA passing or not passing or something should have been Chuck Schumer, since this was a bill that he co-sponsored, right?
Yes, sir.
Well,
You and I
apparently,
have been talking about this for months now.
we have, because it's obvious, at least to anyone who's truly paying attention, and not just a schmuck for that matter. Let me go ahead and bring this one in here. Video full guest. There we go. Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer refuses to answer Ask a Poll subscribers questions about his UAPDA in the NDAA. So it's that same cold shoulder that Ask a Poll is seeing when asking about the UAP Disclosure Amendment, that basically aligns with the same cold shoulder that James Fox got. So you got James Fox asking Chuck Schumer about his UAPDA, right? Now you've got Ask a Poll coming in 6-8 months later asking a similar question, and both getting the stone cold shoulder. What do you think that means? And I asked the question, what do you think?
It shouldn't be a surprise that the UAPDA in its second iteration failed to pass. Because when you have the one of the co-sponsors of the bill that refuses to answer any questions about it or the topic in general, it's a bad sign, right?
He should say, yeah, I support it 100%. It's something that shouldn't pass. I go along with it, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Insert party name here. You know, that's how it should kind of go. But the reality of it is silence. Freaking crickets. Which does not make sense.
Not to you or I.
To anybody. Why, if you've got something that is so legendary, there's something that can go ahead and change the way we see life, we understand life on this planet, but you can't even talk about it to anybody who asks you the question? Not that he won't talk about it to anybody, but there's two people. Yeah, where's the 18-minute 4K video? Where's the mile-long UFO that was observed by multiple pilots in the sky? Remember that one, Mike?
I do.
That SCU was supposed to bring out? There's a lot of things that should have come out that haven't. And the list goes on and on and on and on. And I actually have to work with the other Mike to get that list together, because that list is extensive, and all the different things we've been promised then haven't come forward, that it fell short of of everyone's expectations. What happened? Oh, then again, there's that op-ed again.
It's a pattern, and we keep touching base on it.
But you know what?
Why is all this silence happening?
If an op-ed didn't happen, and then there's a reason for it, Mike, and everyone's looking forward to it, what the heck is with this silence bullshit that goes on a regular basis? We would like to know. We promised it. It's supposed to come out. It doesn't happen. And what do you get? Crickets. Oh, you were supposed to come on the show, but you're not telling us when. What happens? Crickets. You hear this on a lot of different things. But it just seems so unprofessional, doesn't it?
It's unusual, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. No common sense.
In any other industry, it just doesn't make sense.
No. Doesn't matter what we're talking about.
I know.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So what's the next topic?
Well, I'm looking right now, Mike, to see where we're at. We've got a bunch of... Oh, gosh. Here, I found it. I found it. Great. This quote I have with regards to the hurricanes, the hurricane that just went through Florida and Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, all the places in between, even up to Chicago already for that one. Only in Florida. This clip is called Only in Florida. Let's call it Florida guy, right?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Only in Florida. Only in Florida.
Holy shit.
He is directing his shopping cart down the road with a blue tarp.
Wow.
You gotta give him something, but you know what? I saw this. I had to go ahead and bookmark this because it's one of those things. As we're seeing all this stuff going on with everything. Oh boy, let's get past the stuff of Dean Johnson and all the drama. My God, so much drama against people in the community. It's just crazy. And you have the people on the loose side who are just coming down and attacking the people who are out there. Dean Johnson, I'll say it before, we talked about it earlier in the show. Yeah, Dean Johnson attacked. You've had others attacked with regards to it. And it's just inexcusable. Inexcusable for what's going on.
Too much drama. Yeah.
Yo, talk about drama. Let's get to some more drama on this one. Yes, we've got another one. You know Sean Ryan, right?
Yes.
You've heard of Sean Ryan?
Familiar with him, yes.
Well, apparently Sean Ryan was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he thinks UFOs are the afterlife.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we're really going down a rabbit hole now.
Oh, I know. Let's see what I can find here for Oregon sound effects.
Where's Dave Scott when you need him?
That was the one I was looking for. All right, Bach, not Beethoven. But yeah, it's one of those things. We're going to get into it. Hey, Mike, can you do me a favor on this for a second? I need to go check on the kids in the pool.
Absolutely.
Take it, my friend.
I got it. So, does anybody in the back chat have any additional questions on what we've covered so far on the show? About the patterns, the silence, the drama, anything that's been going on?
So an op-ed, that's an opinion written article?
Yes, Greg.
Okay, so I think Thomas was stating earlier that he was going to rely on somebody's op-ed. Do you remember?
Say it again, Greg.
Of course.
We were talking about David Grusch coming forward with the opinion editorial that he was going to release publicly after he had the meeting in New York, talking about what the government is in possession of for UAP and NHI.
But aren't his opinions still slighted by his handlers?
Well, he got a second DOPSA clearance to talk publicly about these things, so he had government approval.
Okay, fantastic. So, man, thank you, Mike.
Oh, my pleasure, Greg. Go ahead, Nick.
Yes, I personally think that we won't be getting any new information until the hearings come out, because once the hearings come out, I think it's going to be on Twitter, and more of the general public will like see it and be like, okay, this is pretty cool. I kind of want to learn more and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we're going to cover it live here on the show like we did the last time when there's a UAP public hearing. But who's going to come forward? Well, we know Tim Gallaudet is coming forward, but as far as anybody else, we don't know. And Thomas mentioned that the chair of the hearing is asking anybody with any knowledge to come forward. So it's not looking good right now.
Do you think this will help? Because like like me personally, I don't think the general public actually knows who Tim Gallaudet is, except the UFO community. Would you say that?
No, I don't know if I agree with that statement, Nick. I know that Rear Admiral Gallaudet, retired, went on the Darcy Weir documentary that we covered here on the show. And Darcy came on and spoke about it. So I think the public has seen the documentaries. I think they have a good idea who Tim Gallaudet is and the work that he's doing with this. I don't think he would be completely unknown to the audience. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was reading that Luna was actually claiming that she thinks we're going to be satisfied or happy with the hearings. And she kind of insinuated that there was going to be some people testifying.
Yeah, we brought that up. We should be really happy about who she's got testifying.
Right, dude.
Yeah.
Do you have any clues? None.
No.
And that's probably a good thing, right? Wouldn't you agree that it's probably good that they keep it hush hush for now?
Potentially, but that would also depend on the caliber and credibility of whoever does actually come forward, and we don't know who that could be yet.
And I
so
guess
the jury is still out.
Sounding like it's not going to be a first-hand witness because of what the other I forget her name, the other woman said. She's claiming the other woman, Nancy Mace is claiming we need to see someone who's seen some shit.
Yep.
Which means it sounds like to me they're trying to get a first-hand witness, but they may not have it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how to feel about
you're
these
right.
things.
No, you're. Listen, sir, you're right. Because I could tell you that when Admiral Tim Gallaudet comes forward, he's not a first-hand witness. Now, he's seen some shit in the military when he was active, and he could talk about that, but not hands-on.
Yeah.
So they need to come up with somebody who actually is, and it sounds like they're still looking for somebody to qualify for that.
Oh, yeah. Right. Talking about qualifying for that, Mike, I have some interesting video coming from potentially Peru. Take a look at these people. What do people think? These are allegedly taken from inside the Citadel, where the Nazca mummies were discovered.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Uh-huh.
Now, supposedly they were covered white in the diatom material because they were dead, and that's what the mines were. Yet we're seeing things that are moving around, almost like something that you would see, like in a bad carnival, haunted house, where they're just moving back and forth and everything else. Oh, God. I know, I know it looks fake, but I have to bring it up because some other podcasts were out there as soon as the video went up there. What am I talking about? Why is this gonna? Thank you, Safari. Appreciate that. Breaking news. You know, this may have been covered by Cosmic Road earlier this week because he was one of the first people responding to this, saying, "Hey, what's up with this?"
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I would say, why hasn't Dave come forward with this piece? But, we know that he's withdrawn from covering UFOs right now. So he's not doing that.
Dave is still covering UFOs. He's just unable to get Lou Elizondo to also come on his broadcast.
Yeah, but didn't he say privately that he's not really going to touch on this topic right now for a while?
Yeah.
He did.
Well, potentially. But hey, we've got additional news. A UFO whistleblower says a huge alien announcement is months away and will be dramatic.
A 1 mile UFO, we have the actual video to it. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to release it soon. You mean like that? We've heard that already.
It's one of those things we're looking at, but as we're talking about UFOs, I actually do have a video clip for us tonight. Let me go ahead and play this. This is coming from Canadian TV News, talking about those UFO shootdowns that we heard some news about earlier this week. Let's go ahead and play this little clip here and see where it takes us. Here we go, folks. Little 33-second clip. Come on.
We can now show you an exclusive image of that unidentified object shot down over Yukon last year. So here it is. That's the image. This grainy picture comes from an email printout obtained by CTV News. This object was shot down by a U.S. fighter jet last February.
So there you go. The capital C. Doesn't look like a regular balloon, to tell you the truth. That's something that's different. It's a shape that we haven't seen a lot of. Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, intrigued by this picture. Now, they had some nice footage of the Chinese balloon, the first object, and then we've got that lovely photo of from the U-2 plane of the second Chinese balloon. This is a lovely grainy photo taken probably from an F-22.
No, what you're seeing is something that was probably shot from an F-22 on a FLIR camera that was printed out that was captured. It was printed out on a PDF and then shared with people. So what we're seeing is a multi-generation version of the original image, which they could easily release to us. But of course, our United States government works with transparency.
What I'm going to say is, okay, so it might be a copied image. We know they're going to have a much better quality picture than that. If it's nothing, which they've not said what it is, but if it's nothing, then release the high quality picture. It's a bit of a a challenge. I can't believe I'm going to say this. This is, I don't know if this has come from the Canadian government or who. It's a challenge to the Canadian government. That's my.
Well, our Canadian government released it, but it was actually shot from one of our F-22s. So this is the United States government taking that information, passing it on to Canada. Canada releasing it. It's not like the United States actually took this and said, here you go, people. We're going to release this information because you deserve it.
Yeah, so if it's nothing, then give us a nice, clear, crisp picture of it. If it's not a clear, crisp picture that's going to be released, then there's got to be something in this.
Yeah. Greg, you have your hand up, my friend.
I'm sorry, you call me?
Greg. Not Rick. Greg, your hand is up. Your mic.
Yeah, of course. That's my fault, man. Hey, so it reminds me of two things. Remember when the doctor used to look through the old mirror to get a magnifying, had like bulb on the end of it and had like a round mirror glass to like magnify the light?
No, but continue.
All right. Well, if you don't know, that's not gonna help. And then also, I've seen this image before through the eye of my telescope. It looks exactly like what you would see through a telescope. What you're seeing around, I guess, what's that, 10 o'clock? That's actually the top part of the telescope, like a secondary mirror to base
right,
down.
But we're not talking about something being shot with a mirror and a telescope. This is being shot with a FLIR camera.
Well, that brings me to the second question. Is there any more data? Like, you remember how, like, the gimbal picture, we had all the F13, F14?
F15, yeah.
F15, we had all the data around it, like its height and all that stuff. So this is just it, right? This is all the picture? There's no more data attached to it? Okay.
That's all they released, Greg.
10-4.
That's it.
Go ahead, Rick. You had your hand up. You're next.
I mean, I just, when I first saw it, I just thought it was kind of a nothing burger. I mean, why even report on this? To me, it looks like just an old parachute. I was thinking like parachute, like from like the military, like an army parachute when it comes down. That's all it looked like to me. But I mean, I guess like Thomas said, though, because we're seeing it in different light, that there could be a lot more that we're not actually seeing here.
We're seeing something that's exhibiting a pattern. What you're not seeing on it is any exhaust, right? You're not seeing any exhaust signature going on here.
And you supposedly don't see that with UFOs, or
Right. Generally, you don't see that with UFOs. That's correct. You're just seeing an object that's being illuminated based on its current temperature profile compared to everything else. And what we're missing is all the other data that goes along with it. Greg?
I'm sorry, to me, that's just the light on the wall. I mean, without any other data, you can't get crazy with it. I mean, we've been this way before, and that's just a light shining on the wall with something. That's my opinion.
Well, it's a FLIR camera from an F-22 shooting on something. You're seeing something that's being illuminated in one color that isn't there, and it's just something that is unknown, and the government is purposefully preventing actual data on what this is from coming out. So our government is purposely covering it up. Would you agree with that, Greg, based on the information that's been released?
Yeah, absolutely. By shining a flashlight on the wall.
Okay. Just take into consideration, it's shot by an F-22 coming from a FLIR camera.
How do I know that? How do you know that? Do you know that?
How do I know it's actually Greg O'Brien on the call right now?
Well, yeah. You know,
I just see a picture up there of an Indian goddess. I'm actually not seeing Greg, so how do I know? You know, it's that same thing. Yes, it's minimal information. There you go. It is really Greg, yes. But it is minimal information. There's not enough information coming out. It's being obfuscated from us. The truth is purposefully being kept back from us, right?
I agree.
The government is purposefully trying to obfuscate the truth by not giving us additional information on it.
Right, but the truth not necessarily is that it's a UFO. The truth could be it's some kind of different cover-up bubbling from somewhere else.
So we don't know what it is.
Exactly.
Other than we got a picture from the Canadian government that came from a United States fighter that the United States gave to Canada. But Canada disclosed it, but United States did not disclose it on their own. It just shows how corrupt and how unbelievable our government is, Greg.
I understand that, but this didn't disclose anything. I mean, it's what is this? This isn't disclosed of anything. Anybody can put this anywhere. Right, Thomas?
Well, you know what? If you have questions on this, I highly suggest you write your congressman.
No, sir. I would never write those crooks. Waste of time. I wouldn't waste the money to stamp, dude.
I got you, my friend. Syrup, you have your hand up.
No, I just wanted to point out that, Greg, that's kind of the point here, is they're doing exactly what they want to do. They want to make sure no one knows what that is when they show the picture.
Because if it was nothing, Syrup, they would have put the pictures out there the day that it happened.
Exactly.
But it's taken over a year. It's taken over a year and a half for us to get a grainy, distorted picture coming through Canada back to the United States to release it. And if there was nothing there, they should have given us all the evidence up front. But generally, when there's a there, they do their damnedest to cover it all up, right?
Right. This could be a spaceship. This could be China's tech. This could be. They had no problem showing China's little balloon flying over. They had no problem showing those.
Well, they had no
figures,
problem showing that. They had no
don't want
problem
it
showing fighters that were coming on Navy planes over the Taiwan Straits. They had no problem showing our drones that were over the Black Sea that were getting fuel dumped on them from Russian jet fighters. All of these things came out, and as soon as they happened, the day of it, when the event actually happened, they took that info and they pushed it out there in the public sphere. Here we've got something that was there. Yes, he should be for the Oreos, my friend. He should be for the Oreos. But anyway, looking into this, they covered it up. What they could have shown us would have been all the details up front. They showed Congress, they haven't shown us.
How come? How come?
Because there's something there.
Exactly.
Whenever there's something there, our government goes in overtime to cover this shit up. That's a fact. They're really good at lying and covering up the truth. Rick?
Hey, do you remember on this report, were there any eyewitnesses to the shoot down of this particular item?
No, there weren't.
No witnesses?
Nope, none.
Because I didn't think that these could be shot down with normal means. I thought we had to use some type of EMP type of weapon or something like that.
Well, these things were potentially shot down with sidewinders, weren't they, Mike? Or something to that extent?
AIM-9L Sidewinder missiles.
Yeah.
Is what supposedly brought these down.
Yeah.
Correct, Thomas.
Yes. Hey, Mike, you know what a deer looks like, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Now imagine a deer on who just got out of prison. You know, where they lift a lot of weights, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Someone put this clip out there. I have to go ahead and share it. Where is it at? Chat video full guest. Let's bring this up. Quote was, someone said kangaroos are deer that went to prison, and I can't unsee it. There's your deer head. There's your muscles. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a lot of fun videos on Twitter. My God, that's one of the things you have to go through. All right.
Because we're serious about not being serious.
Oh, you better believe it, my friends. And if anyone has been following me on Twitter, you've noticed that there have been a ton of videos that I have been showing with regards to the Aurora Borealis. Can't show that one. Can't show that one. Oh, here we go. But I do have an interesting one. You've seen the different reliefs that were carved in Mexico that look like a person who's piloting a UFO, potentially?
Yeah.
Did you know they have similar ones in Egypt as well?
No, I did not know that.
There you go. Here's the one showing with Quetzalcoatl piloting a craft with a, dragon going around it. And what do you have? Here you go. Something going on in Egypt with a similar thing with a snake around it. Very similar. Who would have thought stuff on different parts of the world would have things that are so similar, Mike?
Not me. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Goes to show you, yeah? There's more to it than meets the eye.
Oh, gosh, yeah. Let me get past that one, And I think, Mike, that about wraps it up for tonight. What a good show it was. Happy Friday, everybody. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I had fun. It was an interesting conversation for a Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure our audience enjoyed it. So, we covered a lot of interesting things.
Oh, yeah. Let's see
had fun.
I went through so many things. Let's see if we have something good to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have to figure it out.
All right. Oh, yeah. Fuck around and find out is more like it.
Exactly. And, Laura, I'm sure, will join us tomorrow as well. She might have some things to add from the remote viewing aspect of things.
You never know.
Yeah, I actually will be going in Tuesday and doing another session. So we'll be looking at who might be the possible people that are going to be brought forward for the hearing. We'll see if we can get that. We're still working on the book, lose little blacked out spots of the book, because that'll take a while, but hopefully that'll be soon as well.
Yeah. You never know where that's going to go.
And your little dog, too.
Moose, we'll watch out for you on that one. And that note, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for coming out for this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to thank our friends who have given us some super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? Let's go ahead and thank FaZe Will, Anthony Mack After Death, and FaZe Will again. Thank you very much for your love and support of everything Disclosure tonight. It wouldn't be the same without your love and support of what we do here on a regular basis. More importantly, I want to go ahead and thank the people that have been in the chat tonight, including Andy W., Anonymous Rex, Avi M. all the way from India, Dan Larev, David Williams, Elwan Hubbard, Firefly, Freakish Preacher, Greg O'Brien, Kathy Kingbulk, Kelly Brotner, Piercing Blue Eyes, Marcus Mandel, Metal Gaming, Mick, Ms. Cussout, Paul, Shermanator Osborne. Of course, well, look at that. Even Tom King here is in the audience. How about that? More importantly, I want to thank the people who've been in the back conversation in the chat tonight, including Laura Campbell. Thanks for coming out tonight, Laura. Cheers, my friend.
My pleasure.
Andy W., thanks for coming out tonight, Andy.
Cheers, Thomas. Yeah, Laura was drinking for me tonight, so yeah. I'll probably have one tomorrow night.
There you go.
Cheers.
Greg O'Brien, thanks for the questions tonight, my friend.
May all your ups and downs be between the sheets, my friend.
You better believe it. Also want to thank Syrup. Thanks for being here tonight, my friend.
Thank you, Thomas. It was a good show tonight, man.
You better believe it. Rick Roberts, thanks for the questions. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot.
And Mike, thanks for the camaraderie, my friend, as always.
Oh, it really was a fun conversation tonight. Everybody enjoyed it, and so did I.
Oh, yeah, and as we usually say at the end of every broadcast, a disclosure tonight. Eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone, but...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Love you. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.